title of my talk is Be the Grinch. Dear Bill asked me way back in November, he said, I need to know the title of your talk for December 23rd. I'm like, oh no, December 23rd. You know, probably not before. But so we just picked something out of thin air. And I had just seen something, probably a preview on TV, for the little cartoon about how the Grinch stole Christmas. And I thought, oh, that's really sweet. Let's do something about the Grinch. Because, you know, the truth of the matter is there's some pretty cool metaphors in that. And we're going to unpack it, and we're going to look a little bit at it today. Oh, and I love this. Did you see what Bill did? This is cool. Where's my copy? I might even need it here. He gave us the story. Yeah, I got one. In here on this pretty paper. And it talks about the Grinch. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch just north of Whoville did not. I won't read all of this, but it goes on to tell us that the issue with the Grinch was that his heart was 2 sizes too small. And because of that, he didn't like the noise, and he didn't like the bustle, and he didn't like the commotion. He didn't want anything to do with Christmas. So he decided that he had enough, and he would take matters into his own hands, and he would get rid of Christmas for once and for all. So we went back to his little hidey hole. He was a pretty crafty fellow. And he dragged his little dog Rex along with him, and he found some red fabric, about as pretty as those dresses it was, and he made himself a hat, and he made himself a coat, and he even, if you watch the cartoon, he even made little gloves and little booties that were red, and they had white trim. And who did he look like when he put all that on? Who? Santa Claus. Yeah, Santa Claus. Or St. Nick. That's right. He looked just like St. Nick. He even took poor old Rex, the dog, and he went outside and got a limb off a tree, and he cut it down, and he I think he took twine or something and tied it to poor old Rex's head, okay? And Rex became what? A reindeer, that's right. He became a reindeer, yeah. So he got ready, and he got him a thing that he made into a sleigh, and he tied poor Rex had the worst end of the deal on the whole thing here, okay? Till the very end. Rex comes out okay in the very end. But he tied Rex to the front of the sleigh, and down the side of the mountain they go in the night. And what does he do? But he sneaks into the homes of the Whos in Whoville, and he steals all the Christmas. He takes it all. He takes the boxes and the bags and the packages and the bows. He takes the decorations. He takes the rare roast beast, okay? And even the last can of Who hash. He takes it all. And he loads it all up in bags. And he throws those bags back on the sleigh. And back up the mountain they go. Poor little old Rex has to drag all that mess right back up to the top of the mountain. And they get up there, and he's really happy with himself. He's thinking, ha! I did away with that mess. I took Christmas away from them. But then he starts to hear something as the sun comes up. What he hears is the music. Yeah, what does he hear? Gracie, tell us. He hears the music. He hears the Whos singing their Christmas carols. And he is just befuddled. He goes, how can that happen? I took Christmas away from those people. And then he realizes that maybe Christmas is something more than what you can buy from a store. Maybe it's just not a package and a bow and a ribbon and something that costs money. Maybe it's not all that fancy stuff. That's part of it. That's fun, but that's not all there is. And he realizes that, and what happens in his chest? Do you know? Yeah, tell us.
The heart goes back to
His heart goes back. He grows 3 sizes. So it gets even bigger than it was supposed to be, doesn't it? If you follow the story by Dr. Seuss. Yeah, he got a big surprise there. He really did. That's pretty funny. Now, you know, let's think about that for a minute. That Grinch, he did something interesting. He decided he wanted to steal Christmas. So what he did was he put on a cap, and he made a coat, and he dressed up just like St. Nick. Think about that for a minute. That when we want to see something show up in our lives, one way to make that happen And we understand in this teaching, in New Thought and in Science of Mind, that what we are thinking and what we are feeling and what we are believing, that literally goes before us and brings our world into form. And that's not just a New Thought idea anymore. If you watch or don't watch Joel Osteen anymore, he comes in on my TV, what I get of TV, every Saturday night at 8:30. And so I usually watch him for at least a few minutes. Sometimes I really like him, and other times, kind of go back to whatever I'm doing. But, what he says one thing that's really amazing. He says, if you want to know what your life is going to be like 5 years from now, look at the words you're speaking, the thoughts you're thinking, and the actions you are moving forth with. Because that is what is going to come out in your life and, in the future. And he's very right about that. We believe that, we hold that as an understanding in places like the Spiritual Light Center. Yeah. So that Grinch, he wanted to be like Santa, like St. Nick. So he put on the coat, he put on the hat, he dressed up, he got the reindeer, okay? He played the part. He went out there and did the act as if kind of thing, only it backfired on him. Look what happened. It worked so well that he got the heart of St. Nick too. He got the heart of the divine, and what he did was he got so excited and so happy about this thing called Christmas, the spirit of Christmas, that I don't think he ever got the stuff off the sleigh, but poor old Max, or Rex, or whatever his name was, got hooked back up, okay, to that sled, and back down into Whoville they went, and back went up the decorations, and out went the Christmas trees, and it all came back into form. And even the Grinch, it says, was the one who cut I think it's who rare roast beast. That's a little bit of a tongue twister. And he cut the first big piece off, and guess who he gave it to? The puppy. Yeah, got the first piece. So he finally got rewarded for putting up with the Grinch. Yeah, it was good stuff at the end of the rainbow, isn't there?
You got a question over there, Bob.
I got a question? What's the question?
I was just going to say that I think in the movie he waited till Santa went to the houses, and then he went and took the presents too.
He did, yeah. When he took it, he got it all. You are so right, Hira. He took everything, didn't he? Even the presents from Santa Claus. And if you remember in the movie, I was watching it last night because it's so cute. And I watched it so much when I was your age. It's been on TV that long. Over a million years, okay? Yeah, I know, right? When he got done taking all that stuff, there wasn't anything left but a few little pieces of wire hanging on the wall and a couple of little torn up red ribbons and things. He got it all. Yeah. But he took it all back, too. He took it all back and he gave it back, because he had a change of heart. Isn't that an amazing saying? Yeah, it fits really well. So he realized that he had the opportunity to choose how he wanted to be. And we've always got that. It doesn't matter what we're faced with. It does matter how we respond to it. Yeah, that's huge. Wayne Dyer tells us, I love Wayne, he says, when you have a choice, always pick kind. Consistently, deliberately pick kind. Pick loving. Do those things continuously. Everybody loves to feel loved that way. And we do, don't we? I had an experience. This just still blows me out of the water. I was looking for the card that came to me this morning, and I couldn't find it anywhere. It's somewhere on my thing that pretends to be a desk. I was in Walmart, and when I'm not on Facebook, for some of you, Jim, where are you? If I'm not on Facebook, I'm at Walmart or I'm at some church somewhere, okay, doing this. But I wasn't on Facebook that day, and I wasn't at church. I was in Walmart, okay, and I was doing what I usually do when I go to Walmart. I had my little order, okay, and then I had my other stuff that was for Open Door Center. So I had gotten up to the checkout counter, and I was kind of sorting through stuff, making sure that I had each, had it all divvied up right. And it was in the short lane. It was the 20 items or less lane, whatever it is, okay? And a guy came up to me, a young man, I don't know, mid-20s maybe, and he had one item. And it was about 12:30. And I come from many years of doing that 8 to 5 thing and knowing what it's like if you've got to dash out on your lunch hour to pick something up and you're in a hurry. You got to drive to get it, and then you got to go through the store and the lines and all that. And I saw him there and I said, "Oh, look, you get in front of me," okay? And that wasn't something that just came natural. Somebody taught me how to do that years ago, okay? Somebody did that for me when I was in a foaming at the mouth kind of hurry. Y'all been there, I know, right? Okay. Well, he looked a little excited, and I thought, come on, let's get you in front of me, okay? And so he said thank you, and I didn't pay any attention. I went back to sorting the junk in my cart, right? Okay, and getting all the little debit cards lined up to go with the different orders and all that stuff, okay? Well, it had to happen again. Another lady came up, one thing, I'm like, all right, come on, this is the express lane for people with one item, okay? And so I let her go in front of me, and I'm still not paying any attention to what's going on up there at the checkout with the cashier. Well, finally I get up there and I got, I'm telling her I got 2 orders and it's all sorted, don't throw anything at me, okay? It's good, I'll make it easy on you. And so, she looks at me and she just smiles and she hands me a Walmart gift card. And I was like what am I, the millionth, visitor or something? And she said, "No, that man you let in front of you? This is from him."
Oh my goodness.
I want y'all to know I walked around for 3 days going, I didn't do anything. Somebody gave me money. I can't believe it, I just was blown away. And it wasn't the value on that card. It was the fact that somebody was kind enough and present enough to do that. I'm still blown away with it. We did a little candle fundraiser. You all know Carol Johnson makes glasswork. She makes beautiful stuff. Well, she made little tiny votive candles for us at Open Door Center this year. And for a fee, people can pay a small amount of money, and then at every Open Door event throughout Thanksgiving and the Christmas season, we light those candles so that by this time we have a whole table of beautifully handmade, crafted, lit candles with little tribute cards. And they can, you can fill out a tribute card, and it can be, for someone you love, or a parent, or a grandparent, or a pet. And so I did a card in part for the guy at Walmart. Yeah. Totally, the whole experience just blew me away, But that guy had gotten it, that, whenever we experience something good, the way to feed that good is just to simply pay it forward, to keep giving it. I think that's one of the things that the Grinch got in his lesson. Yeah, pretty amazing. So what do you want? What do you want this holiday season? You want to be happier? Yeah, it's wonderful to be with family. Do you want to have more joyous, more connected experiences in your relationships? Or better health? Well, one way to see that happening in your life is to just play the part of it, is to just be that thing, is to just know that things are happier, that things are easier, that you feel better, that your life is working out well. And it's amazing how when we step into the role, just like the Grinch does, that stuff that we are wanting to see can show up. It's really pretty cool. So I have one other story I want to share with you today. This is really cool. It comes from way back in the 80s, and it was first published in a Women's Day magazine in December of 1982. This was an entry, actually, that a woman submitted, and it won. There were thousands of entries. This one is the one that won. It was a situation where the magazine solicited people, their readers, to write up and send in an experience of their most memorable holiday experience. And so this is how the story goes. This woman was married to her husband, of course, and, you know, he was a little unusual. He hated Christmas. Now, he didn't really just despise it or refuse to celebrate it. The thing he didn't like was he kind of liked the Grinch, didn't like the noise. He didn't like the overspending. He didn't like the commercialization. You know, he didn't like the constant bombardment on TV. And so he really kind of had said to his family, you know, I don't want Christmas gifts. I love you guys. What we have is really important. That, for me, is the meaning of Christmas. To me, it doesn't make sense to, you know, to spend a bunch of money on, you know, something, maybe a new billfold that I really don't need, or, a new tie or something that I'm only going to wear maybe once a month. People don't wear ties. Men don't wear ties like they used to. That was back in the 80s. Jim was going, no, we don't. Not anymore, right? Back when it used to be a white shirt and a tie. I remember those days. At any rate, the woman wanted to give her husband something. She wanted to do something that would be meaningful for him. And so she set about looking for a way to do that. And the inspiration came to her in a pretty unusual manner. This couple had a son. He was 12 years old, and his name was Kevin. And Kevin was involved with wrestling at his school. He was on the school wrestling team. And so one Saturday, they were all going, the family was going en masse to another school, which was way into a city, and they were going to play the team that was hosted by that school. Well, it was an inner city school and an inner city team. And it was a team that didn't have a lot of money. And so when the two teams got there, it was a pretty stark contrast between Kevin's team and the other team. Kevin's team had brand new uniforms, they had spiffy white shoes, they had the right kind of headgear you're supposed to have to wrestle to make it safer. The other team didn't have any headgear. They had on their regular clothes, kind of tattered, not too clean. They had on shoes that literally looked like they had been tied together with shoestrings. You ever had a pair of shoes you had to tape back together? So, yeah, that kind. Well, as the day Richard says yes and shows us his shoes with holes in them. I know, honey, I'm right there with you. So, at any rate, the day went on, and the kids from Kevin's team, from Kevin's school, won every single wrestling match in every single weight division. They beat the kids from the inner city school. And as the family was leaving that day, the dad said, you know, that just makes me sad, because those kids have a lot of potential. They don't realize how bright they are. They don't realize how talented they are. They're going home today without even winning one match. I wish they knew. I wish there was some way to help them understand that, that they are really good at what they're doing. They just need to practice more. And they had a lot of enthusiasm. They had a lot of bravado. They can do this. Well, in that moment, the mom got an idea. And so she went to a used sporting goods store, and she found some headgear, okay, and she found some shoes. She found some other things for wrestling. She bundled all that up, and she sent it to that inner city wrestling team anonymously. And then for Christmas, she took an envelope. I think there's even an envelope up here. Look. Aha. What about this? Yeah, right there. Actually, there's a bunch of envelopes up here. What about that? She took a plain white envelope. She put her husband's name on the front, and she put it on the tree. And she just left it there. Well, Christmas Day came, and they unwrapped all the presents, and they did all the hoopla. And finally, she said, honey, this is for you. And he opened it up, and he read the letter that she had written him. And the letter explained what she had done. That she was touched by his desire to see those kids doing better. And she had gone to a store and gotten some equipment to help them dress the part, to help them feel more like they were really champs at what they were setting out to do, wrestling. And she had sent all that stuff. And do you know, that little thing became a family tradition with that family, and another family, and another family. And finally, a family in Atlanta heard about it, and they went all the way. They went out there, and they set up a thing that they call the White Envelope Project. You can find them online. They created a nonprofit. It is a way of giving, okay, that supports something that is recognizable. It's a way of taking the good that we have, and rather than spending it on another 70-inch high-def TV, or 3 more, I don't have my iPhone up here, 3 more iPhones, or, another house, or whatever it is, rather than doing things like that, taking that money and seeing that it went out there and changed something for somebody. One year that mom went out and paid the fee for an entire group of children with intellectual concerns, with developmental disabilities, to go to some kind of park that they had been wanting to go to, that she knew would be really meaningful for them, that they would talk about it and relive it for years to come. Another year, she found 2 people whose house had burned down to the ground, lost it all, the week before Christmas. And she took that money and gave it to them and wrote about that in the envelope that she put on the tree. Yeah, figuring it out, but there's neat ways to do things, yeah. So, it's a powerful time, I love this time of the year. I love the sense of anticipation that is present. I love the quiet that seems to take over sometimes. It's really special. But it's not just this time of the year. I believe that we, as a whole, as a family, as a species, are moving and evolving and changing into something bigger and something better. And so it is important to dress the part, isn't it? I have a little thing to read for you as we close. I think all of that growingness, all of that stepping into bigger shoes, dressing the part, I think all of that is part of us as a species growing, and it is exactly what Jim read about in his little reflection, isn't it? That, I believe, is a big part of what we are about, or what the story of Jesus the Christ and the birth. I think that birth represents the newness, the power of choice, the power of pure potentiality that we have in every moment. It's always there, and it's always ours. We have only to choose the high road. Several months ago, before the United Nations, President Evo Morales of Bolivia summed this up well. And he said this about December 21st. We've made it through now. We're here to December 23rd. And I don't know about y'all, but nothing changed in my world. It just, nothing changed radically that I could tell. We just kept on the path, okay? But, according to the Mayan calendar, this was supposed to be a pretty big deal, okay? I saw a cute Facebook clip. It was the guy who's working on the Mayan calendar is out there, I guess he's chiseling away, right? And another guy comes up and says, "Hey man, you want a beer?" And the guy says, "Well, I'm trying to finish this calendar, but yeah, all right, I'll get to it later." He goes off to drink the beer and never comes back to finish the calendar. President Morales of Bolivia said this, again, to the UN back in September. And I think it's really true of now. I think it's really true of us. I think it's really true of this world that we are stepping into, this new thing. He said, according to the Mayan calendar, the 21st of December marks the end of the non-time and the beginning of time. It is the end of selfishness and the beginning of brotherhood. It is the end of individualism and the beginning of collectivism. The end of hatred and the beginning of love. the end of lies and the beginning of truth, the end of sadness and the beginning of joy. It is the end of division and the beginning of unity. And so as we move forth during this time, in this holy season, let's just live that. Let's just live that brotherhood. Let's just live that collectivism. Let's just live that wholeness. Let's just put on those clothes like the Grinch and move forward in love. Happy holidays and namaste.